What do you want me to do? You just want me to hit you?
Come on, do me this one favor.
Why?
Why? I don't know why. I don't know. Never been in a fight. You?
No, but that's a good thing.
No, it is not. How much can you know by yourself? You've never been in a fight. I don't want to die without any scars. So come on, hit me before I lose my nerve.
Oh, God. This is crazy.
So go crazy. Let her rip.
A cult classic is defined as something that is popular or fashionable among a particular group or section of society. This could be movies, books, video games, basically anything that hasn't really seen mainstream appeal, but was able to amass a dedicated following. RPG Maker games fit quite snugly in this category, and it wasn't until the early 2010s when people outside of Japan began to show interest.
How's it going, Brett?
Nightmares await you.
And that's what happens when you don't run. You're not gonna have a lot of fun.
The rise of Let's Plays in particular brought about 4 titles to the eyes of millions. They're what I refer to as the 4 horsemen. Aooni, Corpse Party, The Witch's House, and Ebe. Personally, Ebe has always stood out to me, and it wasn't until I replayed it that I understood why that was. Even 12 years after its release, it's been one of the most highly regarded RPG Maker games ever. It's been so ingrained in the space that it served as an inspiration for other games you may have played. And I think it all has to do with accessibility. And right off the bat, Ebe does something completely different from other horror games at the time. Instead of taking the usual route of an abandoned mansion or castle, Ebe is set in an art gallery, to which the creator Corey described as a novel idea. If you think about it, having a horror game set in an art gallery makes a lot of sense. It's a building full of abstract paintings and sculptures that feel like they come to life when you least expect it. Looking past appearances, you're met with another mystery. What do all these pieces mean? While most of them are an expression of a certain emotion, others are harder to understand, which is fitting given how Giratina's works are meant to carry both beauty and mystery. All of a sudden, the lights begin to flicker and the whole gallery goes dark. Everyone seemingly disappears, and Ebe is left all alone. The art gallery becomes twisted, paintings come to life, statues begin chasing you. It's everything you would expect to happen, but it's not overdone. One of the things I like about Ebe is that it doesn't play into the horror aspect too much. It still feels like you're going through an art gallery. A very interactive one, but a gallery nonetheless. And I think this is one of the game's greatest selling points, the ability to interact with objects and how they react to those specific actions. When Ebe gets separated from Gary, both of them have to solve puzzles that are linked to one another. Gary finds an umbrella that he gives to the hook painting. The fisherman on Ebe's side reels it in, allowing her to give it to the lady without an umbrella. This causes it to start raining, filling up the vase on Gary's side so that he can get rid of the gas. This is just one of the many interactions you'll encounter, and while not all of them are as sophisticated as this, it definitely plays into the foundation of Ebe's horror: surrealism.
Okay, I guess that's what I meant from stay away from the edges.
If talking paintings, ravenous women, or creepy mannequin heads weren't enough for you, then look no further than Carrie Careless and the Galette des Rois. In this story, Carrie's friend bakes a cake for her birthday. Whoever finds the coin in their slice will be what she calls a happy person. Unbeknownst to Carrie, she'd swallowed a key instead of a coin. So, what does her friend do? And believe it or not, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Ebe is riddled with foreshadowing of its events and story. Most of the time it's told through various artworks, other times it's found in books or writings on the wall. And they can be really subtle with it at times, barring this one scene where Gary and Ebe enter a room. It suddenly goes dark and Gary decides to use the lighter. And then, this happens. The two of them immediately leave the room, and all of a sudden, a notice regarding starting fires is written along the floor and wall. But the event that everyone who's played Ebe remembers the most is, of course, the doll room. Shortly after meeting Mary, the group enters a room full of rabbits, and while Gary finds them weird and creepy, the girls feel the opposite. It's not until we play as Gary that we get to see what he saw, which were in fact weird and creepy dolls. To make matters worse, he's being followed by one that leaves him messages every so often. Gary is then forced to follow it into the doll room, where he must find a key to get out, all while a larger doll is slowly creeping up from behind the frame. From here, one of two things can occur. Number 1, Gary manages to find a key in time and beelines to the exit. Number 2, Gary is unable to escape. Eve and Mary find him talking to a rabbit as he's lost all sense of where he is. A gruesome reminder that hallucination can get the better of us if we aren't careful. What makes this event so pivotal to the game isn't just the fear factor, but how it affects Eve as a character. We've already seen the effect the gallery had on her earlier, and it was thanks to Gary that she was able to keep going. But now, it's her turn to help Gary come back to his senses. Or just not. That's also an option. But perhaps the area that encapsulates the realism the most has to be Mary's sketchbook. This area is unlike all the other ones in the game because it's completely drawn with crayons. If you're like me, this definitely induces the hyper-specific fear of children's drawings in a horror setting. But when it's paired up with the song Puppet, it becomes a lot more somber. By now, you know who Mary is and her desires. The only thing keeping her company were her drawings. Mary is a lot more tragic of a villain than you would expect. She's played out to be this crazy girl who doesn't want Eve to leave, but all the subtle clues you find throughout the game gives you a better understanding of not only Mary, but Giratina as well. Remember, one of the goals was to find out what the blurred out words to the pieces were, and depending on your actions, Eve will either know what they are, or won't. The original game has a total of 7 possible endings, and I recommend you experience all of them if you can. Each one builds upon another, and it gives you a complete view of the story and characters. And it's this unique journey that still holds up to this day. Replaying Eve gave me a newfound appreciation for all the little subtleties it had, how it effortlessly builds atmosphere during its introduction, and the influence it had on its contemporaries. Is it perfect? No, but it excels at what it does well. It managed to turn itself into an artwork, something that will be immortalized for many more years to come.